Hey everyone, welcome to the GRE How-To series where we make studying for the GRE a lot more tolerable. And if you're new to this channel's not all about the GRE, it's all about doing hard things and achieving our dreams together. So today we are going to talk about the 7 things you must do in order to get into a great business school. And if you're not interested in business school, that's okay. That's okay. Just click up here and get a bunch of the best of my GRE videos so that you can do well for your graduate program. I'll see you there. Now, for those of you, who are interested in business school, well, you've come to the right place, or at least a place that would be right for information that you're interested in. Awkward. Now, if you're considering business school and you don't really know where to start, this is a great place to start, really. I mean, I'm going to be talking about the key things that you must do in order to get into a great business school. I went to school, I bet you can't guess which one.
It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine.
Believe it or not, choosing a business school that's right for you takes some time. It takes some real thought. Some people decide that they want like the biggest name on their resume, but that may not be the best way for you to choose a school. It all boils down to what you're looking for, right? I feel like I got all the best of I got everything I was looking for, which is insane. And I want that for you. The first thing that I highly recommend you do if you're interested in getting into a top business school is kind of counterintuitive. It's really to kind of search inside yourself. Trust me on this, okay? You're gonna want to have an anchor on your desires, your needs, and your goals before you get whiplash with all the messages that are going to come at you. Know what you're passionate about. Know what you want to get out of your business school experience. Know who you are and how you best function and how you best learn. These are things that if you know these things about yourself, it's gonna make it so much easier for you to discern between business schools. Because let me tell you, when you get deep into the business school journey, I guarantee you everyone's gonna start saying the same things. Everyone's going to start having the same randomly racially mixed photos on their websites, and it's just like, you know what? You need to understand where you're trying to go in order to kind of cut through the clutter and cut through the redundancy so that you can really discern if the school is right for you. After you've done that, it's really important to do the research. There's a lot of people who kind of skip this or don't do all that they need to do, but start with the website. The website. If you're watching this, you have access to the internet. Yeah! Use it. This is a time-intensive journey, and really, you don't want to waste your time and someone else's time asking questions that you should know the answer to if you read the front page of the website. Let me just tell you this. Time management is one of these crazy skills that you really need to learn how to master when you're in business school. So this is a great opportunity for you to get a head start because you want to make sure that you're maximizing the time that you have with admissions directors, with students, because you only get one chance to make a good first impression. And you know, you never know if you're gonna be able to talk to someone again. Do your research. And honestly, if you did step number 1, it's gonna be a lot easier for you to guide your research so you know what you're looking for, because that is going to help you narrow down the schools of your choice. Now, as you start to understand a little bit more of your schools, you're gonna want to check that against your goals and how you best function. It's going to be very important that you get a little bit of a hypothesis of which schools are right for you. The next thing I highly recommend you do is visit the schools. Now, if you're interested in a school in the United States and you don't live in the United States, this will be a lot more difficult for you, and I don't want you to feel like you have to overextend yourself to do this. What I will say is that chances are there will be admissions events near you or in your area that I highly recommend you go to, because it's going to be really important that you get to meet people, get to meet alumni. It helps you understand the culture of the school, the culture that the people really exude. And it really does go a long way for you to build a relationship or build an understanding of what life might be like for you at the school. Now, if you can go to the school, make sure, like, this is a pro tip right here, because I'd gone to a lot of scheduled events and everything's well choreographed and well thought out for the most part for most of the schools that I went to. If they weren't, then that was helpful to start narrowing things down. But what I also made sure to do is wander off the beaten path, wander off the scheduled programming in a sense, and just start talking to students who just aren't involved in the programming. I think that people self-select into helping out for, scheduled prospective and student events. So you might want to just see what it's like for the other students who aren't involved and see if they are approachable. I'm not saying that if someone is rude to you or you don't have a good experience, someone that you've talked to, that you should completely write off the school. But if you notice patterns, then that is something to just be wary about. Once is like a fluke, second is kind of like a coincidence, the third is like, okay, that's a phenomena, like something's up. I don't know. 3 might not be the chances. You have to understand what works for you and what you're most comfortable with. So I'm not going to give you a hard and fast rule with, when you should write off a school. All I'm trying to get to is that I want you to be able to experience the school and experience what it's like to be there and see if you can picture yourself there. For me, that actually ended up being a very, very important differentiator for the schools, because I had visited schools, I'd looked at the websites, everything kind of looked the same. I tried to narrow down by the programs that were available, which did help, because at the time I was interested in a dual degree. But once I started going to the schools, I just started, just getting the feels, right? Like there are certain schools where I was just like, cool. And there are certain schools and I'm just like, oh my God. And there's just different vibes that you want to be able to feel in person. So we've gone over the searching inside yourself. We've gone over the doing the basic research, gone over visiting the schools. The fourth thing goes hand in hand with number 3, and that's to talk to students. Talk to the students, get to know what they're interested in, get to know what their day in the life is, and make sure that you're building a genuine relationship. In my experience as a student, there are a ton of people who reach out, and that I always tried my best to reach out to everyone and respond in a timely manner, and just be mindful of the certain peaks and valleys of school time, right? So if it's like high time recruiting season, which let's say for consulting recruiting season is October to mid-January, which happens to coincide with the first and second round deadline of applications. Please plan ahead so that you can talk to these people. Students are definitely willing to help out. There are just certain times of the year where things are a lot crazier than normal. So you want to make sure that you plan ahead in order to get the information that you need to put together a great application. That leads me to another must do, is to get organized. Between coordinating visits and interviews and deadlines and all of those things, there are just so many moving pieces. It's going to be really important for you to get organized so that you don't miss an important interview or deadline, because that is critical. So the fifth thing, and if you're like me, you're doing it probably in this order, is to get the test score. In an ideal world, you want to get a great test score before you embark into the research phase and all that stuff, but sometimes it's just not realistic. I know it wasn't for me, so bear with me. I mean, if you're going to be taking your GMAT or the GRE while researching your schools and preparing your applications, it's going to be a pretty terrible road, but fear not. That's why I'm here. First off, if you're trying to figure out if the GMAT or the GRE is right for you, click up here and I have a video that compares and contrasts both of them, because I happen to have a lot of experience with the tests. I mean, the GMAT, Hey, if you've seen my videos before, you know how many times I've taken this test, right? It's 5.5. But I've also taken the GRE now, and I did pretty well on the GRE, and now I'm trying to do extremely well on the GRE. So if you're interested in the GRE, subscribe. I've got lots of videos to help you on your journey on the GRE, and I wish you the best. The fact of the matter is, the journey is a painful journey for a very, very excellent payoff. So just keep that in mind. Here's the thing with high test scores. High test scores do not guarantee you a spot in a school, period. All of these admissions officers are looking to build a community of people who have a variety of backgrounds and experiences and have a great fit for their culture. You're not gonna get any of that information from a test score. A high test score tells me you either worked really hard or paid a lot of money or spent a lot of time to get that score. And yes, that can translate to dedication or privilege or whatever, but that culture fit and your resume is not reflected in your GRE or your GMAT score. So I just want to make it very clear, you can't test your way into Harvard. That's not what they're interested in, So just keep that in mind. That said, the higher your test scores and your academic profile, the higher chance you can get more merit-based scholarships. So you want to try to make sure you put your best foot forward so that you can just maximize your opportunities for the school. Number 6 is to know your story. And it's kind of crazy how much introspection is required to get into a top business school, but it is. You have to know yourself. You have to know who you are, what your story is, and then you have to be able to do number 7, which is deliver it. So I'm going to talk about both of these at the same time because they go hand in hand. Once you know your story and what makes you special and what makes you you and what drives you, it's going to be really important that you can do number 7, which is deliver it. You have to deliver your story in at least 2 modes of communication. First requires a lot of time and edits, and that is through your essays. That is your first line of defense. You have to make sure that you do well in your essays and articulate your story and articulate the answers to these prompts of your business school applications in order to make it to the next mode of communication, which is your interview for most schools. So you just have to be clear. You have to make sure that the admissions officers can understand who you are and what makes you click and why you would be a good fit into their schools. That's how you're going to get the interview. Once you get your interview, it's going to be really important that you are able to deliver in person or on Skype or something like that. Let's talk about in person first. Chances are for most interviews, it's going to be with someone who hasn't read your application. That means you're going to be meeting a complete stranger cold, and you have to be able to authentically deliver your story in a way that connects with another person. And, it's okay to be nervous. Just try not to be too nervous. You really want to make sure you stick your landing and that you're confident in the way you're presenting yourself. Here's an interpersonal formula, right? Like confident, but not too arrogant, humble, but not too shy. Like you have to find your own style that makes you you and makes your message clear. No one knows your story like you know it, so you want to make sure that you look like you know your story. Not only do you want to know your story, you also want to make sure you know why you want to go to that school. It seems like a mind-blowing concept, right? But if you've done the steps that I've outlined, then you're going to know exactly why you're interested in that school, and you're not going to use the answer that you could have just copied and pasted off their homepage. There are a couple things about my school that we're pretty famous for. MAP is great. MAP is wonderful. MAP is fantastic. But there's so much more. There's so much more to be just as excited about, and it's really important for you to figure out what that is for you. If you have to interview online, then it's gonna be really important that you project preparedness. People can tell if you're looking off to the side, like, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking at the camera. You know how distracting that is? And I'm just like looking down, I can't just have notes down and then look up. Like, those are the kinds of things that you want to make sure that you are not doing when you are interviewing online. Make sure that you're just prepared and relaxed and that you are able to project confidence even through a camera screen. For both of the formats, authenticity is key. You don't want to sound too rehearsed. If you sound rehearsed, it doesn't seem real. So you want to make sure that you have a sense of comfort with the person or with your computer screen in order to make sure that you're building a feeling of connection. I hope this was helpful for you because these are critical steps in order for you to get into a top school. Some people just want to, look at the top 3 names that come to mind, but honestly, you still have to do these things. Harvard and Stanford and Wharton want people who are going to contribute to their culture, Like, you can't just test into the school. You might be able to slip 500,000. Okay, too soon. I guess, look, the crazy thing about the Varsity Blues or college admissions scandal is that I actually worked for one of the people accused, and it just kind of baffles me that people like him and all the other people named basically went out to cheat a system that was already designed for them to win. Like, that's insane. Fact of the matter is, most of us have to work really hard to get this stuff. And it's just really important that we put the work in and we know that it is for something that's going to be worthwhile. So if you think this is valuable for someone else to hear, please share it. It's really important that we kind of spread the word and that we really support each other and help each other kind of rise, like rise up. And that's what this channel is all about, right? To really help each other grow and achieve their dreams. So if this is something that you like and something that you're interested in, please subscribe. There's some buttons down here. As always, if this video was helpful, give me a thumbs up. Are you applying to business school right now? Let me know which round that you're applying to in the comments below. I am so excited that you have made it all the way through to this part of the video. I really appreciate you. And if there's any content or any ideas or anything that you want to kind of talk to me about, leave me a message below, follow me on Instagram at Ashley Freeman, or tweet me at Ashley Freeman, and I will do my best to get back to you. I'll see you next time.